And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Friday. I'm your boy, Grade A Fantasy, and I am here to preview the top plays at the defense special teams position for the Week 5 main slate on FanDuel. Now, before we get into that, normally, obviously, I would have a defense selected and picked out, but since we have interesting news coming in, before no need to switch to that position, but some quick we'll just go over some quick news. I was trying to get all this out, but like I said, there was a lot of ifs, a lot of iffy things about Friday's injury report, and a lot of things came out clear. So first and foremost, let's get right to it. I think definitely the most probably even more important than the DeMarcado Michael Carter issue. We have Chuba Hubbard is out. He's going to be out for a couple of weeks. He has a very capable, and it's already named, he's going to start. Rico Dowdle is very capable of taking over for Chuba Hubbard for a couple of games. I think he's my favorite budget play besides Michael Carter, DeMarcado, whatever the case is. Now, Carolina has injuries up on the front line, so if he gets stuffed, you know why. 3 of the 5 guys, and it's all the interior, the 2 guards and the center. But Rico Dowdle just last year, like I said, first off, young running back. I think he's 26, 27, rookie in 2020. Didn't really get any action until 2023. So the body's fresh the whole time. Because he backed up, Zeke, and then by the time they got rid of Zeke, they finally gave him the reins in 2024, and he did pretty decent. I mean, he had a hot start to the season. I mean, he had a hot ending to the season. It was a bit of a struggle, and then I would say midway, started just getting proper value when he started getting 20 to 12 and 19 carries, and then from Thanksgiving on, he finished off the season with 4 100-yard games in 2024 out of the last 6. So definitely somebody, fantasy-wise, lacked the touchdowns because in 2024 last year, only 2 touchdowns. But definitely somebody that's willing to and is capable of taking a rock. Those last couple of games when he blew up with all the touches, only one time did he have less than 19 from Thanksgiving all the way to the end of the season. Only one game where he had under 19 carries. After that, the most carries he had in the game was 25. So definitely capable. I think he's my new favorite cheap piece, value piece at the running back position. Rashad White will be getting. He's another one, very talented back, and when he's getting most of the running back plays to himself, obviously not the best. Also, another 2-week injury with Bucky Irving's foot. I guess they're pretty much lucky with him being in the boot. Normally, when people are in the boot, you're looking at the 2 to 4 weeks, but they're already saying could miss up to 2 weeks. So with that being said, Tampa Bay, it is a tough, like I said, it's a tough matchup for Rashad, but the volume will be there. And that is pretty much it because the news of who's going to start isn't really there. I mean, I brought this up as well. Allen, now it's an 8 to 12 week injury or whatever. I thought he was going to originally miss like 4 to 6. Now it's 8 to 12 weeks for the Jets, Braylon Allen. So I already mentioned it in my video that it's a big thing for Breece Hall because now, I mean, come on, man, just need to stop. Like, he gets good plays in the beginning of the game, and then they're already taking him out. That man's volume is at least going up 15 to 20, maybe even 25%. So, and a good matchup like Dallas, that makes me love Breece Hall even more. So let's get right into it. For the defense, do I recommend? Yes. One of the few times that I do recommend getting that $5,000 defense. Hey, man, Detroit's on the road, but Browning has been horrible. And I guess the best thing to do is to still pick on him. Plus, Detroit, after barely doing anything with defensive pressure in week 1, all of a sudden, with their output in the last 3 weeks, they lead the league in sacks. So even if at home, Browning can throw some passes and get to his receivers, expect that $5,000 defense to still kind of pay off with maybe some turnovers, not giving them too many points, and getting in the range. They have a floor of getting three, maybe even 4 sacks, and they can bust it up to a ceiling of 5 to 6. They now lead the league in sacks, so definitely well worth a $5,000 price tag. As we keep going down, hell no to Baltimore. They got injuries on both sides of the ball. Indianapolis at 47 against probably the most turnover prone, because Browning obviously didn't start the season. The most turnover prone quarterback is Geno Smith. So Indy at home is probably an even better play than Detroit on the road. Seattle at home, like I said, it's a solid defense. Tampa Bay is still trying to get all their players together, but now Bucky's out, so that's one less talented person to worry about. So Seattle is an option. Arizona against Tennessee, 4,400 at home. A team in disarray. They definitely could put some pressure. And the thing with Cam Ward is making mistakes, but not like Browning or Geno mistakes. But he's trying to hold on to the ball a bit too much to try and make that play downfield. That's why Arizona's another team with a floor of getting a high sack value. They can end up with a 5-sack day as well. Giants at New Orleans on the road. Like I said, I do mention it. Giants are option with the right matchup. This non-explosive offense is also still a bad team. The only thing is that the Giants are good in the front 4, which complements the front 7. But pretty much everything after the front 4 is pretty much garbage. So if New Orleans is still struggling to score into the end zone, even though the Giants' run defense is horrible, if that front 4 could pressure like they did Herbert, but the front 4 has been doing their thing anyway. If the front 4 can at least help make, some pressure and maybe some errant passes for the quarterbacks to maybe get, then, Giants are a decent option at 4,100. I actually like them at that price, even though the Giants' defense isn't that strong. Horrible defense in Miami, but I guess you could always look to attack Carolina, but it sounds like a weird $3,900. It's one of the $3,900 prices where I normally start, where I don't really like it, because Carolina, in the right situation, can blow up and have a decent day where they make even $3,900 mid-range look bad. Tampa Bay is an interesting option on the road, because they will, even though yes they're a pass funnel, they will shut down the run, and then they'll make Sam Darnold beat them. So that could be interesting as well. Probably more of a contrarian play. And then, to be honest, I'm not even going to go. There's no need to talk about any of these defenses down here. I'm going to stop my selection process here at 36 and 35. And if I want to, Carolina at Miami is an option as well. They're at home. Without the big play of Tyreek Hill, yes, Waddle will have to step up, but might be a little simpler to keep an eye on things from being. And that's the one thing they're bad at, being taken advantage of from over the top, which is Tyreek's specialty. So everything will pretty much be in front of them. Carolina is an option. And yes, Tennessee, if you need the extra cash, because you know why I would say Tennessee? There's something like the Giants, a nice front 4, still weak in the secondary, but I think they have a better young linebacker core than the Giants. But Arizona is still a team to not be trusted. I will still get to both defenses if I need the salary, even though there is some value out there already. But Tennessee is a slight option, but I'm not going to overdo it. Once again, for somebody like me in the 20 max, 2, maybe 3 times, at max 4 if there's somebody that I'm trying to squeeze in. But typically, besides Tennessee, I will stop here, because New Orleans at home has shown. I've recommended them before. Houston also with a bad Baltimore. I mean, they're just hurt on all sides. So Houston on the road, but definitely to the Saints at 3,500. If I could get some stats here, that time that I like the Saints, hopefully it pops up. But there was a day or one of the weeks that I loved the Saints at a certain amount of them. I can't get it right now. Let me see if I can get on to Houston. Sometimes when I try to get to one, it doesn't get to the other. But besides one game, the Saints have stayed positive, 5, 8, 9 points. And the Saints have been no more. Okay, so there goes the Texans. And then as you can see, last week, they're capable of keeping 3,600. So they're 14, 4, 7, and 6. So yes, they're not booming. But against Cooper Rush, like I said, he's not the worst. He's not mistake prone. But like I said, it's still a backup quarterback. And now it's a backup quarterback that will stay prone in the pocket instead of moving around. If I can get to the Saints, though, what I like about the Saints is, there we go. Besides one game, I think they're only one game negative, but for what they've been this season, 3,100, 32-33. I think this is the most expensive they've been all season. Arizona, they didn't get their doors blown off. San Francisco, they held them down. It was the right match because I think that was a Mac Jones game. They had 5. Only Seattle was a -2. And Buffalo was a 4. Those two are on the road, but at home, they play pretty well. And they get pressure. 5 sacks and 3 sacks at home. So 8 sacks in total. And yes, Jackson Dart is a scrambling quarterback. And guess what? They'll probably have him try to sit in the park instead of taking all that punishment that he took in the last game, which he will be moving around, but they're going to have to do a quick 3-step to 5-step drop and get it out because their big play wide receiver is out for the rest of the season. So I still like the Saints, even though maybe game script wise and strategic wise with a mobile quarterback like this, but this is still not an explosive offense. So if they can somehow get Jackson Dart, he's scrambling. Maybe if Jackson Dart fumbles, he's still prone to throw interceptions, still young. He can't, he's not going to run it like 30 times, 20 sometimes. That's what they got Scatterable for. But I think the Saints could be able to, they play well at home. So if there's one thing that I feel after four, maximum 5 weeks, we should know what these teams are. Yes, injuries, finagle some stats and some things, whatever, and blowouts, finagle some numbers. But if there's one thing that has been consistent, the Saints have been gaming. They have been, playing well, and they play well at home. And like I said, this is not a juggernaut that they're going against. So when it comes to the ranges of defenses, when it comes to the pay-ups, yes, I have no issue with Detroit and Indianapolis as pay-ups. As we continue, Seattle's a decent option at 45. But yes, this is one of the weeks where I do recommend the pay-ups. Detroit at 5, Indy at 47. I'll get to the mid-4s of 4,400. Arizona I like this week. The Giants are also option. When it comes to the mid-range, Giants 4,100, Dolphins at 39. And then when it comes to, I gave a few options for like the paydowns, but my favorite paydowns are 3,600 Houston against a very unhealthy Baltimore roster, and New Orleans Saints at home, because there's been times I've recommended that Saints at home. They didn't boom like how I gave up the Vikings thing. But if you're hoping that they can just score enough and not give you a 0, but still be able to give you anywhere from a 4 to an 8, and the rest of your lineup boom, you're good to go, because defense is very, it's very unpredictable, very volatile. But paying down, that's why it's so safe to do it. And then, like I said, Houston, can they get to rush? Houston defense is solid. And then if you're just looking for that extra couple of hundred to maybe fit the stud that you're trying to get, Carolina against, like I said, a Tyreek-less Miami, it's an easier matchup. It's an easier defensive matchup because the deep threat is gone. And if there's 2 teams over the last couple of years that get bombed on, it's Tennessee and Carolina. And then this year, like I said, the way Arizona plays is just a slog. That the offense still doesn't look like it gets out of its own way. It has its moments, but Carolina, Tennessee, I just want to mention. But pay down for me is recommend 36-35. Only go to Carolina and Tennessee if you're looking just for that extra couple of $100 to fit in that stud. That's pretty much it. But there's your quick Friday injury report. And there's your defensive preview. Thank you for tuning in. This is your boy, Grade A Fantasy. Good luck building. And there is still news to be had. Arizona still hasn't, I think, officially yet named who their starter is as of when I'm recording this video. Pretty much in the afternoon on the East Coast, 1:30 p.m. So, good luck. And, this is going to be a fun week. Thank you for tuning in. Please like and subscribe. Also, if you like the video, help a brother out. Helps with the algorithm. I'm a baby channel, do the research on my own. Thank you so much for tuning in once again. And like I said, good luck this weekend, and hopefully I'll be talking to you about how well I did, and maybe you guys send some comments on how well you did in week 5. This is an exciting week. Out of all, since football came back, this is definitely the week that seems to be a lot of exciting stuff going on. I really do think, even with some of these injuries to some running back guys and stuff like that, I really think this is the week that like a 215, in the range of a 215 to 225 takes this slate. Really, there's some opportunities for some big fantasy production.